Everywhere you look, people are warning about October, corrections, even crashes. But what if October holds some of the biggest breakout opportunities of the year? In particular, one breakout opportunity on one of Australia's biggest companies that has taken 5 years to set up and is signalling it is ready to buy now. These kinds of opportunities don't come around often and don't last forever. So today we've handpicked 3 ASX stocks ready for massive breakouts during October that you need to see. We've spent decades guiding traders and investors, training thousands across Australia with our government-accredited share trading courses, and being called on by major outlets like Bloomberg, CNBC, the Australian Yahoo Finance, and much, much more when the markets matter most. I'm Philip Tortevsky, joined by analyst Pedro Banales, and we are Wealth Within. Good morning, mate.
Good morning, Phil. Can I say I'm very excited about the stocks that we're covering today?
Yes, fantastic. All right, well, let's get straight into it because we've got a fantastic show on today. First up is Bravura Solutions. Now, before we get to the chart, remember the last stock is showing a breakout, as I mentioned earlier, for the first time in 5 years. So you better stay tuned for that. But to Bravura now, which came out with some massive news today. Pedro, start us off with that, please, mate.
Yeah, so the announcement that Bravura made today is basically that they're getting a new CEO, and his name is Colin Greenhill. He's starting in January 2026, and there is going to be a transition period where the former CEO, Shazad Okai, is going to ensure a seamless transition. So that's a good sign. He's still going to be staying on board to help him through. Now, what makes this exciting is that Greenhill has experience in the financial services and insurance software sectors. So he does come with experience. Now, usually when these types of things happen, it does bode well for the stock if there's new innovations or new plans that are coming out. So definitely that's something to watch. But what's more exciting is the chart. And I think that we should just get straight into it because this is where the opportunity for a good trade lies. Now, I mean, automatically you can see that the stock has finished this long-term downtrend. And I think that we can establish that it has bottomed back here in 2023. That's quite obvious. It has been on a long-term uptrend now. And if I can just put an arrow just to show that momentum, it's just been traveling strongly up. It is up around that 760% level. Now, it has got to a critical level, as you can see there, at around that $2.50. I'll just mark that out because it was a previous support, and it has, struggled to get above that in the past. However, if it does break above that, then I mean, this stock has potential to go at least 46% to that first resistance level. And if it manages to break above that long-term downtrend, I mean, the sky's the limit. The next level here, I don't see much resistance until the all-time high, which is another 70%, and then it could travel even further. Now, on the weekly chart, this is where I think that really the picture starts to evolve because we can see more and more volume coming into it, and especially on these later moves here. This earlier volume here on this outside blue bar that you see here was when their report came out earlier this year, just last month actually to be precise. And of course, it wasn't very bad, the report, and it wasn't great either. So the stock looks like it just was sold off on negative sentiment. But buyers have now returned and have pushed the stock higher. So another thing is that we have gotten above that $2.3 level, which it has congested in the past. So now we're trading well above it. I think that we're on the way up. This one is looking very, very nice. Yeah, that's Bravura.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. I want to stick on that chart because, you mentioned a few things there, especially the way this stock is lining up. I mean, how often have you seen this, mate? A stock listing IPO, rising up, falling all the way back below IPO price. Then following that move, that is when the major real long-term expansion starts. And I mean, what you've picked here is absolutely fantastic, especially the way it's unfolding. But to me, more importantly, it's the nature of these patterns. And you touched on it a little bit, but what we're seeing throughout this period here, this is something that you go back to our previous shows, you go Drone Shield, you go EOS, a lot of these stocks, you go Linus, a lot of these stocks were resembling these patterns, and these are patterns that we do teach in our courses. So, to me, that is the most exciting part. I know you touched on it a little, but when you do see these compressions right now, a breakout through that $2.20 to almost $2.80 level could spell a serious run. And if this is the start of that real leg up, well, the all-time high is not out of the question. It might take a while to get there, but I mean, a lot of promising things on this one. And I just wanted to mention, if you do want to learn some of the techniques that we are showing here, like some of these moves, some of these trend lines, they're in this book. A lot of the advanced stuff is in our course. So go please visit the website if you want to get into our government accredited share trading course. But if you want the book as a start, go and check the link in the comment section in this video. It's free. You just have to pay the shipping. It's How to Beat the Managed Funds by 20% by Dale Gillham. All right, well, let's move on to the next one, which is Alcoa Corp. Now, I want to get into the chart of this. It's the stock code is AAI. And I mean, Pedro, this one here, again, it seems to be the theme. We're obviously talking about breakouts during October, right? Because there's all this talk about how the markets, right now it is bullish. Again, give us a tick. We spoke about it before September came out saying, hey, September's pulling back. Looks like it's going to continue to do so. But where are the opportunities? And October naturally is also seasonally a down month for the ASX generally, although not as bad as September. But when you look stock specific, there are always opportunities. And this one here, it is a relatively new stock. Again, that repeating picture, IPO, initial euphoria, the I guess speculation buyers come in buying that initial run, bang, breaks below IPO price. Then we start to see the leg up. To me, this is, I guess, in one of those line in the sand type moments. And I say that because right now we've had this really huge flush out. Look how strong the selling has been. And then, you know, really the stock on huge volume right at the end. The strongest volume was right at the end, and it failed to go on with it. It actually consolidated on that highest weekly volume and reversed up. So there's a clue there. We move forward and you can see this arrow I've painted here. It's the highest amount of volume ever for this stock, ever, and by some as well. Now that volume coincides with this particular move through here. What's happened following? Buyers have picked it up. So it's safe to assume that we've had some buying come in through here. And now the way the bar looked last week, that is quite a bullish sign. So we've had an initial spike up, which again was supported. You can see really strong buying gap through there. The stock didn't want to go back to fill the gap, supported the buying. We're getting that really nice higher high, higher low base, although it is starting to compress now, which is why we're on the theme of breakout. If we can break above 50.85 and start to approach this 52.88 level, I think there is potential. That's the IPO price. So that's where things will get quite interesting again. It could be the springboard for a big expansion, or we might see a little bit of resistance. But to me, as long as it holds this momentum here and starts to expand with this type of movement, I think you're on to the next leg up. What it could also mean, the way this is unfolding, is a compressed move might just mean it could be slowing down before it breaks lower. But this is the beautiful thing about knowing how to structure a trade right. It's identifying those exact moments where you're ready to flip your script and say, you know what? It's not going to play out how I think initially. This is my get out clause. And to me, that's under this momentum line. If it starts to fail through here and break down this momentum, take out these lows, this might be a whole bunch of pent up energy by the buyers not being able to counteract this big selling move through here. But given where it's come from, new major low, given the volume, given we're printing those high highs and compressing and looking like we're about to break out, I think any breaks above could signal another expansion up. So this one, maybe not as crystal clear as Bravura, but definitely opportunity and one to watch because it's getting ready for a bust out move. Sorry, I've covered probably most of it, but any thoughts, Pedro?
Yeah, no, it's covered that nicely. I would just add that, this company's in the alumina and, bauxite space. And we are seeing the resource sectors take off at the moment in our market. So that could provide a tailwind behind this stock to possibly push it up. Now, this is just textbook, the way that this is moving. And really, this is the way that a stock sets up. You have these kind of compression periods, and then you have that breakout, like you mentioned earlier. So it could be that now it's getting ready for that setup, and this is the time to be looking at it, because once it does move, it could make a move, say, about that 20% in 1 week. So really, you want to be able to get in at those opportune times, and of course, when you've got some confirmation. Now, this one, definitely, I think it's got legs, and it could actually go and fill that gap up here at around that $71.
Yeah, especially the space that it's in. The material sector, as we've spoken about for a while, that's the one to look at, and it is absolutely flying at the moment. But Time now for the giant ASX player that has just signaled a breakout for the first time in 5 years. Pedro, what is it, mate? I know it's a huge stock. Everyone follows it, and it couldn't get any more exciting right now. Obviously, the material space is one, but this player here, if we get going, and we are right now looking at it on the cusp of the next potential major breakout. So take it away, mate.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you're talking about a top 20 company, that's a tick. Nice dividends, that's another tick. And volatility, meaning that you can make good growth of this stock. And the stock that I'm talking about is Rio, of course. So for the last, say, 5 years, this stock has really been very frustrating for investors, I'm sure. You know, it's been just trailing sideways, and it's had some false breakouts to the downside and to the upside. But we can form some clear indication of, you know, possible support and resistance here. So we've got a very strong support level at 87 that it's found support at many times in the past. But what's interesting to me is that it hasn't actually tested that for 2 years. So for many times that it has fallen below that $110 level, it hasn't actually managed to fall below it. So it could be that the market is saying, well, no, that's too cheap. We're not willing to sell for that price. We do think that it's more expensive. So now it has broken above that long-term downtrend. That's a pattern that you were talking about. It has not done this for a very long time. And we're talking about, you know, back here in 2015. And we saw the huge run that it had after that period, you know, up there into the high of 2021. So if it does do something of that similar fashion, I mean, from the low there, we've got 258%. I mean, I'm not even going to project that out to the upside. That's a massive amount of return. Now, of course, the first resistance level is going to be around that $135 level, which is roughly around that 11 to 12% from where it currently is. And we do have that strong support level of around 110, and you've got that 8% to the downside. So the reward is better than the risk at the moment. So this is looking very nice, good quality stock. Look at that base that it's formed there. It's looking marvelous. I think that this is a time to start looking at Rio, and you know, you feel confident that it is a good quality stock in our market. I mean, one of the largest market cap.
Yeah, and so exciting. I mean, if you go to my chart on the weekly, to me, the only other thing I wanted to highlight is check out the volume. I mean, these moves, again, stuff we do teach, but knowing how to look at them correctly and where and put them into context, that's the key, the secret to this kind of stuff. And when you look at this here, you see it and you go back to the previous couple of stocks, or especially Bravura, these patterns often unfold time and time again. So now that we've broken out, I mean, we're talking about breakouts during October. This one is definitely one for the cards, and the volume is creeping up as we're breaking out. That is so important, that it is being supported. Look how strong that bar was, and look at the volume supporting it. It's on the way up. So all things are pointing up for Rio. Now, if you want more hot stock tips, check out our video, ASX small cap stocks on fire now, top 3 to buy.